robotics is the future of warfare. Artificial intelligence is going to have huge applications in warfare. The best illustration are the drones, the unmanned aerial vehicles that have been used so efficiently and so effectively by the United States, by Israel, and so many other countries. Now, initially, the drones were used only to acquire targets, to carry out reconnaissance, surveillance. But increasingly, they are being used to not only acquire targets but to attack targets and destroy targets with a combination of ground based intelligence, human intelligence, and satellite imagery, which narrows down the area of search. And ultimately, you use human intelligence assets in that area to guide these drones. And from 10,000 miles away, you can attack and engage targets, pinpoint individual targets in Afghanistan, in Balochistan. Latest example is Mansoor, who was killed in Balochistan by the United States.
Hello, my name is Manvendra Singh Shekhawat and I'm founder of the New Guards. पाँच हजार सालों से मैन हैज़ बीन मेकिंग वेपन्स टू प्रोटेक्ट इटसेल्फ। सबसे पहले बोज एंड एरोज आया, उसके बाद गन पाउडर, एयरक्राफ्ट्स, केमिकल, बायोलॉजिकल, न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स, एंड नाउ robots are here. Robots are reality and they are everywhere. DARPA, or Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, which is a research arm of US Department of Defense, is a front runner in producing robots and robotic technology. But what about India? To understand the importance of robotics in military sphere in context of India, we should know that a conventional war is not going to happen in future. It's the asymmetric warfare which is going to stay with us. With all these non-state actors from Pakistan like Lashkar-e-Toiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, ISIS, etc. अब सबसे पहले तो हमें ये समझना होगा, जब इंडिया एक सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक करता है पाकिस्तान के ऊपर, then there were some high-level technologies which were used. Some drones were used, satellite imagery was used as per some reports. And in future, a country with higher technology would be superior to a country with less or no technology. The war is changing now. Technology is the power. Robots are not part of science fiction anymore. US has been using all kinds of robots for its military since the war of Afghanistan and Iraq, and it's famous for using drones to eliminate terrorists. On the other hand, Russia has reportedly deployed robots in Syria for war against ISIS. China has also invested billions of dollars for developing automated weapon systems. So where does India stand in terms of military robots? Well, let's find out. DRDO, or Defense Research and Development Organization, is a government-owned organization which is responsible for making robots for the army in India. It has a robotic division which is responsible for making ground robots and UAVs. In 2002, Daksh Primal was the first robot made by DRDO. It was mainly to dispose of IEDs, or improvised explosive devices. Recently, through newspaper articles, I came to know about certain startups which are making robots in India by Indians for the Indian Army. So I wanted to know more about these companies. Which are the robots they are making? What is the use of these robots? So I traveled to Gurugram to find out more.
I'm Ritukur Vijay. I'm from the High-Tech Robotics Systems, and we are developing unmanned ground vehicles and different type of robots for Indian defense, along with some commercial applications like driverless vehicles and warehousing robots.
So while I was doing my PhD in robotics at Carnegie Mellon, I was involved in a race, which was a seminal race, DARPA Grand Challenge, where a vehicle had to autonomously travel 150 miles from one point in the Nevada desert to close to Vegas, and I was part of that. And during that entire process, I got really attracted to the idea of now creating a real world application for robotics rather than just doing an academic PhD. And that really was the driver. So I spent like 3 months coming up with a list of 150 ideas on how robotics could influence human life. And and then I decided to pack my bags and come back to India, because I didn't want to start up in the US. I wanted to come back to India and really make a change here. As you see now, robots have already started to kind of affect our daily life. Yeah. So there have been. It started from defense. Like any technology, the the driver for it usually is defense. Whether it's the internet, whether it's the mobile phone, it's defense which starts it for some requirement of theirs, and then commercially it gets exploited when the technology becomes mature enough, the price points meet, etc., etc. So the idea for us also was that since I had personally worked with US Department of Defense projects quite a bit, it was how could we effect a change in Indian defense. And we have a threat, right? I mean, we have a threat from each and every corner. Every one of our neighbors is rather unfriendly to us for whatever reason that may be. But then, so that was my motivation, that how can we help move people out of harm's way, and really these machines could take over some of the work that our Jawans today have to do. So we have various categories of robots for basically being mission specific for the army or defense requirements. We have these small robots, as you see by my side, which are small throwable robots, which can be used for anti-terrorism operation, counter-terrorism operation. And then we have medium robots, which are basically for EOD roles. And then we have larger robots, where we have these kits which can convert any large vehicle to an unmanned vehicle. So whether it's a truck or an armored personnel carrier like a BMP to 15-ton armored personnel carrier, which we have converted, which has gone through trials, successful trials in the desert as well.
So this is a throwable robot. So in operations like what happened at Taj a couple of years back.
Yeah.
So this is specifically for urban warfare, where you can throw these robots and actually you'll get a remote feedback of the video and audio in the operator console unit, so that you can get to know that how many people are there. Are there?
And it can move in all directions. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
What is this?
So this is a surveillance, ball, which can be thrown in any of the unknown areas, and this can give a complete 360-degree view of how the conditions are in that unknown environment.
And when did you develop this?
So this was developed 4 years back. Currently, we have already supplied more than 100 such units to NSG, and they are using in most of the critical operations which are available.
So you're saying like this ball has been used in some of the operations,
yes.
like anti-terrorist operations.
Absolutely. I can't name the operations, but yes, they have been used in various counter-terrorist operations.
So the terrorists must be freaking out. You would throw this ball to them, and they would catch it and take it to their home, and then you can see what's going on in their home.
There is an option. It can be self-destructible as well.
Yeah. So what is this?
So this is a hexcopter. So this is used for surveillance for all the armed forces in order to control any crowded area or any place where you need a continuous feedback, video feedback. And so one good quality of this drone is that it can work for 24/7. because the operational situation and the conditions require a continuous operation of these drones. But unfortunately, the drones which are available in the market, they have a flight time up to like from 30 to 45 minutes. But this drone can actually fly endlessly because we came up with a concept of tethered UAVs, and this is tethered with the ground station. Whether that ground station can be a vehicle, that can be a stationary point on the ground.
And what is this mean machine here?
So this is a beast. So this this is again a surveillance robot which can move on any terrain, all the rough terrain, and so this is kind of all-terrain vehicle which is used for surveillance. It has got cameras in the front and the back, with which you can actually get the real-time video feedback on the operator control units. So
And it can work in any terrain, anywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. And how long have you been having these, like developing these robots?
So it's been like we've been in the industry since last 10 years,
10 years,
and these are a couple of versions of the robots. So
And these are all made by your company, and like
absolutely.
you the one who like designed everything.
So right from the conceptualization,
Okay.
from then designing, and then finally production of all these units has been done by the high-tech robotic systems.
I think over the next 5 to 10 years, most of the critical, areas in which we feel there's going to be hazard to people, I think are going to be taken over by robots. Whether it's ground robots, whether it's UAVs, we are already seeing that the army is willing to induct UAVs. They are inducting ground robots. All that has started to happen in pockets. I think mass proliferation of that should happen over the next 7 years odd, I would think.
The other place where we have used robotics very extensively, and quite extensively in fact, is in the utilization of IEDs, improvised explosive devices. There we have used them in a big way, and now even the DRDO has developed the Drona, the Daksha, unmanned robotic vehicles which can close up with the IED, neutralize it, detect it, and disarm that particular IED. That has been a major area of work, and there I think we are doing quite well.
So what is the future of robots in the Indian Army? Autonomous weapons have been described as the third revolution of warfare after gunpowder and nuclear arms. Currently, there has been some progress in the robotic technology development in India, but is it enough? With constant threat to India from terrorism and some of its neighbors, I think India has to move in a very fast speed to catch up with the world in terms of technology for robotics in the army. But how it's going to happen is the real question.
As of now, we are actively thinking of acquiring the Predator drone from the United States. In fact, when the Prime Minister went to the United States recently, a few days back, there was talk that we would possibly get the Predator. And if you get the Predator and you are able to integrate it with your system, then you have the capability already. The DRDO, I believe, is working on such a model, but by the time that comes, it's a long time. And I think it would be very much to the advantage of our armed forces to work alongside the DRDO. Give some of their best officers to this organization so that they, from the word go, they are able to utilize the end user. They are able to extract the knowledge which is with the end user. The unfortunate problem is that the only service which is doing it is the Navy. The Navy has retained ship design and they are doing it themselves. They haven't subcontracted it out to the DRDO. In terms of the Air Force and the Army, they have just subletted to the DRDO and they just act as critics. And they don't really take any role or contribute in any way to the development of the product per se, which they get into an adversarial relationship. The quality of manpower with the DRDO is not very high because our best people go up to the United States, to NASA, to the Silicon Valley. We lose our talent. We have to find out ways to retain talent. And I think one of the ways to do it is to privatize it. Get the private sector involved in defense and they will hire the best and the brightest. And they will pay them suitably. Otherwise, what happens is you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. That is the problem that we are facing. So we are hoping privatization will sort out a whole lot of problems which the public sector has not been able to address so far.